Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Good. Where are you from?
I'm with a small podcast called the Blurred Spot Podcast.
The what spot?
Blurred Spot stands for Black Nerd.
Oh, I like it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are you the black nerd?
I am one. I'm one of three. But
So
it's
there
just
are three
me
black
today.
nerds in the podcast?
Yeah, it's me and my cousin Tony and then his friend Anthony. So,
Anthony.
yeah.
How long have you been going?
We started during the pandemic.
Okay.
So about 3 years now.
That's good.
And this is our third year with Anime Frontier.
Right on. It's my first year.
Well, how are you enjoying it?
I love it. The hotel's great. The space is great. People are great.
That's awesome.
I got no complaints. I'm trying to figure out if I can join the same group for their convention in D.C.
Okay.
But I don't know if I can yet.
You mind clipping my mic to you as well? It's this one right here.
What? Oh, yours?
Yeah.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Should I go to the bathroom now?
You sure? I mean,
done
that'd be
it
an
before.
exclusive, be some exclusive audio right there.
I did a Washington Mutual commercial. I used to do a lot of commercials on camera, and how's that?
That's perfect. Thank
Good?
you.
Okay. And sure enough, I go to the bathroom, the mic pack falls in the toilet. First time it ever happened, and the last time it ever happened. I was so embarrassed.
Like, sorry guys.
Right. Right.
You bring up commercials. When you were on the State Farm commercial, I remember
Yeah.
everyone was like sharing that. You and I shared the video. Everyone's like, "This is Naruto!" Like, you know,
Yeah, I was with Chris Paul, and that was his, not his first commercial, but Jake from State Farm. And he's a Naruto fan, so he was
Love that.
wigging out, right? But so we filmed that on Super Bowl Sunday, which sucks, and the crew hated it, but it was the quickest shoot of my life because they all wanted to go home, and Chris Paul wanted to go leave early, but because his daughter, I think, had a soccer game. He was totally cool, but he called me my name in the spot. Like, he's like, "What's up, Maile?" And I'm like, "Wait a minute, what?" Like, I'm a character, but he called me by name, and they kept it because it was a crazy Swedish director guy.
Mm-hmm.
So at one point during that, it was the Super Bowl, and Jake from State Farm, the new Jake, now the old Jake, we all gathered around a monitor and watched him watch his first commercial in the middle of the Super Bowl, which is pretty cool. And I said to him, I was like, "Dude, your life's going to blow up." And I think he was kind of like, "Really?" Like, he didn't have a great agent or anything. And I was like, "Yeah." Like, you're going to be a millionaire multi times. And so it was kind of cute. Now I see him and he's with everybody. He's super buff.
Mm-hmm.
Hanging out with, like,
Drake and
yeah, Drake, exactly, yeah. And, Mahomes and, like, all the athletes and stuff. But I haven't seen him since. I have his number somewhere, but yeah.
it's like, hey, Jake from State Farm, remember me?
He would remember me, I think, because he freaked out. Like,
Oh yeah, I mean, because you're a lot of people's childhood, like not just people my age, but my cousin's son, like
yeah,
and now actively, like he loves Naruto.
Yeah.
So I told him last night because I spent the night at their house because they live close to here, and I was like, yeah, I get to interview Naruto tomorrow, and they're like, what? And he was like, so he's super excited.
well, come by
into
my
Naruto.
table and I'll give you a poster print for him.
He would love that.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, not a problem.
like, what goes through your mind seeing like how Naruto has been reaching not just our generation, but the next one?
It's bananas.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, generally a show doesn't get bigger and bigger and bigger. It kind of goes like that. Mine has gone like that. And the pandemic just put it over the top because everyone binged it because they had time and they all stayed home. So that Naruto, not my show, but Naruto is become culturally just prevalent everywhere. For instance, one of our directors, she directed the last several seasons and also directed a bunch of Boruto. And like she said, oh my God, I was at Disneyland. And she goes, every third shirt was a Naruto shirt, which is kind of funny for Disneyland.
Right.
But I just see it everywhere now. And I used to see it, but now it's everywhere. It's crazy for me, like bananas. And also I get recognized a lot more, which is also weirder, because everybody tapes the Q&As and, it's on YouTube. And then Visby put me in a lot of those promos. And I've done a whole bunch. I did a bunch at New York Comic Con too. So I think there are like 15 more promos coming out with me. So now people they didn't as much put the face to the voice, and now they do. So it's kind of nuts.
There's been a change in, you've noticed a drastic change in fandom from
Drastic.
It's
Like, TSA, right? I go through TSA, and this guy's like, oh my God. And I can see the look right away. People do this.
double take.
Or triple. Or they get close to you, which is what little kids do.
or do that little whisper. What's that?
Yeah. I know I saw her on TV.
Or try to hide their camera. Just this one right here.
Yeah.
It's like, just ask.
Yeah. So it's kind of, for me, it's not cumbersome. It's not that level of fame where it's, you can't go anywhere. So I'm at a level that's fine and manageable and fun, and people are great. I don't have bad interactions.
So for the people who don't know, that will watch this later, that haven't seen anything outside of Naruto, what's some of your most notable characters outside of that anime character?
Funny you should ask. I'm on a show called Not Dead Yet, which is, it was a mid-season replacement on ABC. Abbott Elementary precedes it, which is one of my favorite shows. So that's a big deal. It's on camera. We start up again December 18th, and then January 2nd again. So, because we're on strike. So we're going back right into it. So I'm on that. I have a recurring role as Gina Rodriguez's office mate, Tina. And then I'm on a show now on Adult Swim called Royal Crackers, and I'm a series regular on that. I play Matt, a teenage boy. Surprise. And it's dirty. I mean, it's not for young kids. It's definitely Adult Swim material. So that's on tomorrow night and Sunday nights. I did 3 pilots recently. Who knows where they'll go, voiceover ones. And Boruto, of course, I finished recording it. It hasn't all come out yet. And then who knows, right before I left, literally, I did 7 auditions in my house, so for voiceover stuff. So, and I got another couple over the weekend that I'll have to crawl into the closet in the hotel and record it, or go to Steve Bloom's room because he has a better setup. That's some of the stuff, yeah. But I've done a lot on camera. Mm-hmm. Lab Rats, I was on for years and had a big role on that, and done a lot of movies, a lot of guest stars, Mike and Malie, The Mindy Project, Modern Family, yeah. The Office, ER, Grey's Anatomy, Shameless, I was on for six episodes. And Yes Man, 500 Days of Summer, a lot of credits. And Jakers, The Adventures of Piggly Winks, which you can't see anymore, but it was the cutest show on PBS animated. And I won an Emmy for it, so that's one of those things that
really cool.
Like to promote.
You brought up The Office. That's one of my favorite shows. I know your scene got deleted.
Yeah.
It was like an extended cut.
It didn't get, it came down to like a line, yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah.
But working with, like, having that slight interaction with Steve Carell, how was that like?
I know Steve. His wife and I were in a comedy group together in college, Nancy. She was my roommate for many, many years. So I was in their wedding. So Steve Carell to me is Steve. But I realize he's Steve Carell. People bug out, you know. But I'm like, hey, Steve. But I did Evan Almighty with him as well. That was kind of weird because he had to wear like a thong thing because he was naked. I was texting Nancy. I was like, well, saw pretty much all of Steve today. I shot in Virginia, and then I continued to shoot that movie in Virginia. He's great. He's just like you imagine. He's as nice as people say. Hysterically funny and kind of shy. Yeah.
Which seems pretty opposite of
Oh yeah,
the
he's not
characters
obnoxious at all.
he plays.
Yeah,
My favorite is honestly the 40-year-old version, but
so we were at the 40-year-old virgin premiere, and Steve had done a bunch of FedEx stuff, and he was on a Dana Carvey show that kind of didn't get recognized that much at the time. And so we're at the 40-year-old virgin premiere because we were invited because we're good friends. Nancy and myself and my college buds were all still friends from our comedy group together. And Steve's like, oh my God. We're in a tent outside, right? Mm-hmm. And it's after the movie, and people are just raving. And he goes, Angelina and Brad Pitt are here. Like, he was freaking out. Another time I was over at their house. I don't see him that much anymore, but because they're busy. But he came, I don't know why. I think I was at their house, but he came home and his kids were little. And I was with Nance, and Nancy told me they were at Disneyland the day before, and Kobe Bryant walked up and was like, can I get a picture? And he's like, oh my God, it's Kobe Bryant. So it's very funny.
so those kind of, oh my God, I'm a celebrity moments. Like, what are some of yours, like, where you're like, I can't believe this person knew me?
Well, I was at their house, and their son had a friend over. We were there for like a pizza party. Like, I think maybe one of our old college friends was in town. So we're at their house and in LA, and Nancy's like, oh my God, his friend had to leave because he was so starstruck. Because he was a fan of lab rats, which made me laugh. It was years ago. But for me, I think it's funny when people come up to me and they're like, my kids are huge fans. That happens at conventions for me. And I'm like, oh my God, you're on Star Trek.
Right.
I can't think of anyone in particular. But it's always kind of shocking. I think what's more shocking is people send me a screenshot of something like, I don't watch Stranger Things, but like the kid from that, or no, what's the other one? The kid in the promos has a Naruto shirt on. What's the kid in, not Stranger Things, it's, God, what is it?
Is it a series on Netflix?
Yeah, I think Native American kids, Reservoir Dogs? No, Reservoir.
Could be that.
Yeah.
Like on the Native American reservation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a picture of him wearing a Naruto shirt. And I was watching a true crime documentary the other day, of course, and the woman comes on, the perp, and she had a Naruto shirt. I was like, that's not a good example, but it's an example.
That's funny.
Yeah, it freaks me out. Or like, people will find out and they'll be like, oh my God.
Well, I mean, you can hear, I mean, not as just in your face as Naruto's voice, but you can hear you.
Yeah.
When you talk
I mean,
regular in Naruto. So.
Yeah, it's very close. I pitch it up and down, of course, but yeah. So that's weird for me when people come, like, and they're like all about it.
Do you feel like you've grown with Naruto all these years? Like,
I think so.
From a child to like even to an adult who's married and has kids now.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, if you think of Bart Simpson, he's always been his age. So in that way, it's super cool to be part of a show where he grows, like age-wise and maturity-wise. So I don't know if I feel like I've grown, but the message resonates, like never give up. That's one of the messages. And one of my favorite quotes is follow your ninja way, because it means anything to anybody, whatever that is. And I meet a lot of people who tell me a lot of personal stuff. There are a lot of people that have gone through foster care or lost a parent, and they come to me at these conventions. They'll tell me these very deeply personal stories. One guy yesterday, he was like, you helped save my life because I was in the hospital with COVID. And my mom he's an adult, but his mom brought in a Fire Stick, and it was Naruto, and that's what he watched to stay engaged. So those stories are really amazing.
That's awesome. When it comes to speaking of like the emotion, when you do those emotional scenes as Naruto, like what do you do to prepare and kind of tap into those emotions?
Well, first of all, I'll say Naruto made me a better actor because I have to tap into them very quickly. We don't get the scripts beforehand. And he has every emotion in the world. Like literally every emotion, including comedy, which of course my background is in comedy and stuff. I don't really prepare, but you dig deep in the well. So obviously if I didn't, it would be bad. You could hear it. I can hear it in bad performances when people are phoning it in. And no one on our show does that. They made a very good choice in casting. The people who adapt the scripts do a really good job. The directors are amazing. Producers are great. So I think that's why our show has such longevity. Kind of see some animes come and go because they do them fast. I don't think they take as much care. And I can't name names at all because I don't really watch them. But we don't do that. And we picked very good actors.
Yeah.
Or they picked very good actors.
We're like about 15 minutes. That's what we were told we were allotted. So you're good to go. That's
Yeah, let's just finish it up with a few more questions and then I'm good.
I guess my last question for you then, Maile, is like, seeing your career get this far and doing conventions and getting all this experience too, how has that been like for you? Did you ever feel like you wouldn't make it this far or see your career jump this far? Or just like
I seriously don't think I'd be like in my 50s playing a teenage ninja. That was not on the docket when I started acting and traveling the world, the country, but also the world. And that's really what's also very shocking. Like several years ago, I was at a convention in LA and this Indian kid and a Pakistani kid came up. They were friends and they were like, "You're huge in India." I'm like, "What?" So that was kind of crazy. And then I went to Sweden and it's huge there. New Zealand, Australia, Mexico City, which I haven't been to yet. And apparently a lot of people watch it in English, at least in Mexico City. But yeah, I never thought it would be like this crazy. And like I said, it's just gotten crazier. I mean, it's crazy, like to be recognized too for this. Like I was at a gas station, I had a mask on and sunglasses. I'd already paid, but I went to get some gum and the guy's like, "Are you Naruto?" And I said 2 words. It's also happened at the pharmacy twice, which I don't encourage. It's not a good scenario. I'm like, no. Yeah, no, I never put this. I mean, come on. I wasn't even going to be an actor. Kind of fell into acting. And much less I wasn't going to, like, do this or be able to meet people all over the country, all over the world, and Canada. But, yeah, it's bananas. It's crazy. I don't think about it till I get to a convention. Mm-hmm. And, like, at New York Comic Con, I went and I had a panel. And there were thousands of people there. And it was just me on the panel. Thousands. And I was like, well, this is different, And because I used to do stand-up. So it's like I get to be funny in front of thousands of people, but not have to hang out in some rotten club and, wait to go on for 3 minutes. No, it's a pleasure. It's awesome. I can't believe it. It's generations. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like generations. They'll be like, yeah, my dad got me into it. This is my son. He's getting into it. I'm like, oh my God. Just don't name people. Just don't name your kid after. I've met too many people. I'm like, really?
Naruto Uzumaki.
Yeah.
Huh?
I'd be like, this is my son, Naruto Uzumaki.
Okay, so I'm not going to say where. Met this couple. Between them, they had 4 teeth. And they were like, this is our son, Jiraiya. And I was writing something out. And I said, I have a mental block because I don't write Jiraiya that much. Right? And I'm like, it's Jiraiya, I think, whatever. So I'm kind of struggling with that because I don't have a reference. And I go, how do you spell it? And they're like, hold on, how do you spell it? And the guy's like, I don't know. And then they were like, they looked it up. And I was like, oh my God.
They didn't know how to spell their own kid's name. That's wild.
Like, do not name your kid that. I've met some Hinatas, which is a more normal name. And in Japan, it's a name. I met one Naruto kid that I can recall, maybe more.
And Sasuke.
Oh, yes, I've met Sasuke's. Yes, I have. I just shove them off to the side.
Right. So my favorite character is Naruto. My best friend is Sasuke. So like we have this thing where
Well, I'm not giving her a free autograph.
good. No, because when we'll be in random places and I'll just yell out Sasuke, and she'll be like Naruto, and that's just kind of our thing that me and her do because of the characters we like. She tends to like the brooding type,
Sure.
and I have main character energy, so I tend to go for the MC. So
Well, thank you.
Yes,
First
yes.
of all. But yeah, it's weird. Yeah, because people will do that every once in a while too, usually like an airport. You know? I'm like, believe it! I'm like, I'm not going to turn around and scream in an airport. And one of the last things is Amanda Miller. We're good friends. She plays Boruto. And if I see her in an airport, I'm like, stop doing this. And she'll be like, Dad! And I'm like, don't do that to me. It's too much explanation. We're right by TSA. I'm going to be locked in a room.
like they're hallucinating.
Something's wrong.
Unless people recognize your voice. I mean, you do have a very recognizable voice. So
Yeah, I get a lot. Well, I'm on TV too, so I get a lot of. It used to be a lot of like, "Are you my aunt's friend?" Like that. There are levels, and I can tell what level I'm at. So now it's like I'm not like, "Are you friends with my cousin?" I'm friends with everybody's cousin. I'm like, no, I'm not. But now because of Viz and the promos and YouTube and TikTok and all that stuff, I got to get back on the TikTok. It's work, people.
it is work.
Yeah.
It is a job
like-
in itself.
They're like, you got to send out some stuff. I'm like, can I just scream Sasuke into a microphone? Call it a day? Well, any last question?
No, that was it. It's great. It was
All
a
right.
pleasure meeting you.
Likewise. Come by the booth. I'll set you up with I don't have any merch. I just have pictures, but they're all yours if you want one or not.
For sure.
Don't feel pressured.
Definitely will get that.